After March 1973, no more GIs in Vietnam. Started to move from January 1973 after General Secretary Kissinger signed the agreements with the lawyer Tho, THO, that the vice president of the NLF, National Liberation Front, to take the GIs out of Vietnam and Americans step out of Vietnam, not involved directly to Vietnam. Alright, so after that, 2 more years, Vietnam still in war between North and South. And then in 1975, April 1975, many tanks attacked Saigon or drove into the city of Saigon. And it came into the presidential palace of Saigon, arrested the president and the cabinet members, the government, and that put an end to the war. And a year after, the city name changed to Ho Chi Minh City. And who's Ho Chi Minh? Ho Chi Minh is a gentleman. He's Vietnamese, born in North Vietnam, never get married, learn a lot of language, and he traveled many countries before he came back to Vietnam and became the leader of the national revolution. And he's one of the person who make the communist revolution getting bigger and bigger. He was not the general secretary of the party, Communist Party, but he was the leader of the movement against the enemies. Whose enemies at that time of Vietnam? At that time, many enemies. Many enemies. During 1940, we had French. French came to Vietnam in 1858 via Da Nang, and then the whole entire south of Vietnam became the first colony, and the French named this south of Vietnam Cochin China. Alright, and we people have another enemy, King of Vietnam, a feudalist system. They were not popular. They took money and they did not represent for the kingdom. Alright, they became like a semi-puppet king in the hands of French colonialists. And in 1940, we have another enemies, the Japanese. Japanese came and invaded Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, Malaysia, Philippines for many years during the Second World War and entire China. And another enemy. What is that enemy? Literacy. Only 3% of Vietnamese know how to read and write at that time, 1940s. Only 3% that were that people were literate. And another enemies, what is that? Poverty. So many enemies at the same time. And Ho Chi Minh is the leader of this revolution, of this movement, defeating one enemy after the others. And in the end of the Second World War, when the Japanese and the Vichy French, because French were still here in 1940s, coordinate with the Japanese Nazists. They took the food of people, forced people to work as slave, and made 2.3 million Vietnamese die because of no food and coal. 2.3 million died, bodies everywhere. The alive people was too sick, too weak to bury the others. And then Ho Chi Minh and then the Vichy French, the Japanese disagreed to each other, and they fought each other. Ho Chi Minh and the Viet Minh, the troops, the very young, very how do you say, simple establishment of the armed forces defeated the Japanese, declared for the independence of Vietnam. Independence, but not freedom. Why? Japanese were kicked out. But the French still here. The French still here. French still in the entire country. So Viet Cong or Viet Minh at that time, several of the troop Viet Minh was in the city, but they were not so powerful. So the French came back and re-invaded Vietnam in 1946. Very young government established by Ho Chi Minh in 1946 have to retreat out of the city. Hanoi, Saigon, Hue, Da Nang, Hai Phong. They left the city. They moved to the mountain area north of Hanoi, and they built a safe zone in the mountain. Ho Chi Minh himself living in the cave, cottage, walking on the barefoot, organizing for the resistance or for the guerrilla war, hit and run, because they know the French will stay here longer. And with a very strong support from neighbor, who? Chinese. Ho Chi Minh got the aid from communist Chinese. Chinese also sent people to train Ho Chi Minh troops, officers or Ganzansla. So Viet Minh became very big in 1946, from 1946 to 1953. So within about less than 10 years, Viet Minh became very powerful. And in 1994, the People Army was established, and one general Vong Nguyen Giap, GIAP, used to be a teacher of history. He was nominated by Minh to be the Minister of National Defense Ministry, and that the first People Army of Vietnam, the new first democratic republic country in Southeast Asia. And the same in the year 1946, Ho Chi Minh was elected to be president of the whole country. Vietnam is one country before the French came and after the French, till now. And then French re-invaded Vietnam from 1946. Ho Chi Minh targeted, and the people targeted, that to defeat the French and kick the French out to make Vietnam independent again and freedom, because we hate to be colonized, and we hate to be invaded, and we hate the poverty, we hate the what is it? We need to learn the literacy, that to be literate. So that's why people join Viet Minh. What is the Viet Minh about? Viet name of people, VIET. We are Viet people, and in English we say Vietnamese. Majority people living in this country, Vietnamese, 85% of the population. We do have the minority people like Montagnard people, but the Vietnamese make the majority, and we've been living here for more than 80,000 years ago, that migrated from South Asia. And we had independence about 2,000 years before Jesus Christ. So up to now is nearly 4,000 years the Viet people living in this land. We had our own king from the 1st century. Before the Jesus Christ, we already had king of Viet people. So until the French came, they invaded Vietnam. Vietnam is one country, but long and narrow. Saigon located in the south. So French invaded south first. And in 1945, the king of Vietnam was defeated. Viet Minh, Minh allies. At that time, Ho Chi Minh or communists were not so strong enough. So they had to coordinate with the other parties. Republic, Democratic, some Democratic Party member from China. Chiang Kai-shek also have a representative in the new government in Vietnam in 1946. They have more than 50 candidates, 50 seats of the new government. So that's why Viet Minh as a name of allies. Communist, is was the majority. All right. Seeing the advantage that communism is invading the world, so Chinese really keen on supporting Vietnam, supporting Ho Chi Minh, because he was the leader, supporting Vietnam, and try to make Vietnam and help Vietnam to defeat French. When the French were defeated, Vietnam could become a communist country. And in history, Vietnam was well known to be a very stubborn and brave, never surrender nation. We defeated the Japanese, the Mongolian 3 times in 1258, 1288, and 1285. Doesn't matter. Mongolian invaded the entire whole world, Europe, but they were defeated in Vietnam. So Vietnam was a gateway for communists going south of Asia. Singapore, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Cambodia, Laos, to make the communist empire getting bigger. And who could be the leader of this communist empire in Asia? China. So China really keen on supporting Vietnam and made Vietnam stronger to defeat the French. And then Vietnam could be the right arm of the Chinese communist. Nothing free. Nothing free. So Ho Chi Minh, before that, did Ho Chi Minh keen on the getting help from Chinese? No. Ho Chi Minh, what did he want to do? Whatever Ho Chi Minh wanted to do to make Vietnam to be free country that it used to be before 1858. And of course, king was not popular, so the people did not like the king. So of course, no king. Vietnam became the republic, democratic republic country, modern, and education for people as well. Free or not free education, maybe later. But first of all, freedom and independence. So that's why before he died, he write down the sentence: nothing more precious than freedom and independence. If a country is wealthy but is not free, it's not good. Independent. We make our own decisions. So that means that was strong signal that Ho Chi Minh keen on getting help, but doesn't mean we lose the independence. Because a lot of people, many countries in the old day that had the freedom but no independence, but still we got money from outside. And many decisions we cannot make it on our own. So Ho Chi Minh wanted that Vietnam to make the decision on our own. For many years, Vietnam treated as the kingdom, have to honor to the Han Empire. Whenever the king of Vietnam became king, he himself or the representative of the king have to go to China with a lot of offerings, a lot of gift to honor to the Chinese Empire or the Han Empire. And that Ho Chi Minh did not want it. Ho Chi Minh said every country have their own fate and destiny. So we make our own decision. So that's why in the end of his life, he's still saying nothing more precious than independence and freedom. All right. So Chinese help Ho Chi Minh. But before that, Ho Chi Minh asked whom to give him a hand? Do you know? United States of America. In 1940s, Ho Chi Minh sent letters to White House, and White House agreed to send, or they did send many OSS, Overseas Secret Service. All right, Overseas Secret Service, to go to north of Hanoi, help Ho Chi Minh training the officers and also troops. With Ho Chi Minh, for example, there is a bird on the tree or there is a fruit on the tree. You want to get it, but the tree is too high. All right, there are many ways to get the fruit. One, you climb up. One, you get the stick. One, you get the gun to shoot it, right? And then the fruit will drop on the ground. For me, tool is the tools. The goal is get the fruit. The goal of Ho Chi Minh, the independence and freedom. Ho Chi Minh asked the French to leave Vietnam, but they did not want to go. When he was in France, and he sent many letters to the international convent, when the French was a part of the meeting, and they did not know who's Ho Chi Minh, whose letter is it, who wrote this letter. They don't care about me. And Ho Chi Minh also asking other powerful countries that French were here. They were brutal. They killed Vietnamese. They forced Vietnamese work as a slave, and they killed them, and they just buried them in the farm, in the plantation of the coffee tree or rubber tree. So they have to go out, but no one listened to me. And when he became the leader of the revolution, and now he have an official title to negotiate with the French, but the French did not care about him. So Ho Chi Minh make a decision. He tried to do like Indira Gandhi, revolution without violence, but the French did not agree. The French colonists in here, they did disagree with Minh. They deny Minh. So that means Minh make a decision to do the revolution violence, but violence from the wealthier and more powerful country, US. US was keen on helping Minh, but based on the domino theory, Soviet Union became so aggressive. North Korea became, Kim family in North Korea became very aggressive, and Mao Zedong became so aggressive. They were about to invade the whole world. When we were inside a communist system, we didn't know how dangerous they were. Till you die, or till your family member were killed, were executed without court. Alright? Because you don't see the difference. Alright? So that's why people was brainwashed.
A few moments later.
Yan, so ganito kadami mga foreigners dito sa tour group. So ito sa atin yung parang Coda Line bus na yan, says welcome to Vietnam. So ito is sa pinaka parang drop off point na papunta sa mga tunnels. So later on we'll be going into the tunnels. Ito yung ating grupo, also sa camera. Ayan, so mamaya pupunta tayo sa mga tunnels para makita kung gaano kalaki yung mga Vietcong tunnels na tinatawag. At syempre para masubukan din natin, di ba? So mamaya sakay ulit tayo sa bus na yan para i-continue natin yung tour. So parang break na lang muna ngayon. So let's go, samahan niyo ako sa ating pagtatrabaho.